So, a couple questions for you guys. Who in this room has been in the business for longer than 6 months? How many of you, keep your hand up, and you can put it down if your answer is no. How many of you have had a hard time with motivation at some point in your business? How many of you have had a hard time figuring out how to be persistent and keep going in one part of your business? If you're not raising your hand, there's the person next to you and whisper in there that they're a bad liar. Everybody struggles at one point. Okay, so today Meg and I are going to take a few minutes and we're just going to teach you about some of the things that you can do to help the motivation get going again, or at a standstill, or to keep it going, to be persistent, to keep the levels go up. And to start out with that, I'm going to tell you a story. Now, the story I'm going to tell you is about a man named R.U. Darby. Have any of you guys heard of R.U. Darby before? Do we have any Napoleon Hill fans in the room? Awesome, this will be fun. Hey, R.U. Darby. R.U. Darby had an uncle, and they lived out in Maryland, Williamsburg, Maryland, and he was like any of the rest of us back in the day. He heard about something exciting going on, and he had a big opportunity. So what did he do? He packed up his shovel and his pick, and he headed out to Colorado to see if he could find his fortune in the gold rush. And so he had a shovel and his pick, and he got some land, and he got going, and he started digging. And guess what? He hit a vein of ore. The only problem is when you're gold digging, and you hit the vein of ore, and he knew that. So he said, well, I'm going to quietly cover this up and head back to Maryland, and I'm going to see what I can do to build a team. I've got to get the machine to be able to go down and drill and extract it from the ground. So he quietly covers it up, he heads back to Maryland, it's quite a distance, and he gathers his family. So he goes to his nephew, R.U. Darby, and he says, R.U. Darby, he says, buddy, look what I just found. The only problem is I don't have the money, I don't have the resources to be able to get this out of the ground. What do you think we should do? Well, Mr. Darby said, you know what, Uncle, it's not a big deal. I have some other family connections, I've got lots of friends. Let's find a way to get some money, and we're going to buy that machine, we're going to drill, and we're going to be rich. So they do it. They go out and talk to their friends and family, they gather the money that they need, everybody believed in them, they trusted in them, they supported them, and they head out to Colorado, and they get the machine, it's delivered, and they start drilling. And guess what? They hit a vein. And that vein produced a lot of gold. And so they send it out to the smelters, and the smelters did their stuff with it. It comes back, and they said, this is one of the best mines in Colorado. So they're like, this is awesome. We're going to pay for our machinery, we're going to pay our family back, and then we're going to be loaded. They're so excited. The only problem is they kept drilling, and they kept drilling, and they kept drilling, but they didn't understand the nature of the business. And so after a while, they just had invested so much, they sold their expensive machinery that they borrowed money against, and they sold it to a junk man for a couple $100. Well, the junk man was smart. While these guys headed back to Maryland, the junk man called up a mining engineer, and he said, I don't know anything about gold, but I know you do. Tell me what you know. So they ran their calculations, and guess what? He said the problem with the Darbys is that they didn't understand the system. They didn't know how this works. What they didn't understand was that there's fault lines, and you have to be able to calculate and follow the fault lines. If they would have kept digging, they would have found a pile of gold 3 feet from where they ended. 3 feet, people. The story is called 3 feet from gold for a reason, right? So he took his calculations, he said, thank you very much. Took his expensive machinery that he got for a couple $100, hit gold, made millions. Back home, the Darbys got wind of it, right? And they're feeling pretty crappy about themselves because they had invested and they missed out on this opportunity. The story doesn't end there. Fast forward a whole bunch of years. The nephew, R.U. Darby, he was young, and so he was able to pay back all that money, but it took him a really long time because he had to do other ventures and figure other things out. But eventually he stumbled across insurance, and because he learned from his past experience, he ended up being the top salesman, or one of the top 50 in the nation for selling insurance. He would make millions annually, and he attributes it to his failure in gold, because he said, I will never quit 3 feet from gold again. Pretty awesome, isn't it? 3 feet from gold.
So I think there's a couple of really valuable lessons. I think you're already brainstorming what some of those lessons are that we can learn from this awesome story. So two different men, two different lessons here to be learned. So I think first guy, he worked really, really hard. He sunk a lot of money into his business. He saw the potential there, and for a while, he saw some success. But do we sometimes begin to lose our motivation because we stop having success? So when things start to slow down for us or get hard, or have you ever felt like this just isn't working and I can't do it anymore? So you've lost the motivation to keep digging. That's this guy, right? But he was so close. So he was nearly there, and sometimes we just need to dig a little deeper. Don't give up 3 feet from gold. You gotta just dig a little deeper. What else can I do? How can I move forward a little bit further? Then we've got the second guy. This guy also sees the potential, but the big difference here is he does the research. He gets the knowledge, and most importantly, he asks for help. He goes to the experts and he asks for help. So use that. Use all these resources and people and know-how that you've gotten this weekend, and use that to reach forward for gold, for emerald. He took advantage of the foundation that was already there and then dug deeper. Sorry, I'm a note person. I gotta have my notes. There's more. But the last, maybe the most important lesson that we can learn from this story is going back to the Darbys. Did he realize his mistake? Yes. Yeah, you bet he did. And he also found success, because in a different way than the first guy, in a different way than the junk seller, he realized that he could still have success in a different way. And just like we've been learning from so many different consultants, the different ways that they're building their businesses, we don't have to do it in the exact same way. We can still have great success in a different way than somebody sitting beside you is having success. We just have to ask each other. We can learn from each other, build from each other, and in your own way, have success. One more quick thought here. Sometimes I work really, really hard and don't feel like I'm getting anywhere. In my team, we usually call this planting seeds. So, and probably a lot of you are planting seeds. But the key is, if you are consistently planting, then there's potential to harvest. And just because you're planting doesn't necessarily mean that eventually there will be a harvest. It means there's potential for a harvest. And if you keep working and apply these harvesting tools that we're learning here this weekend, then we can have that success. We can keep being persistent, and we can keep expecting to reach our goals if we are willing to put constant effort. It's hard to get re-motivated again. And it's hard if somebody before. I've been doing this business a long time, and sometimes things get hard. So how do you know not to quit, right? So let's think about really quick about New Year's resolutions. Why is it by March 1st, everybody that's had a New Year's resolution is not doing their New Year's resolution? The famous one everybody talks about is weight loss, right? I'm going to go to the gym, I'm going to get a beach body, I'm going to look great for summer, and by March you're eating donuts and Twinkies for breakfast again, right? It just happens. And so what happens, what's the difference between that and what's the difference between, well, let me give you an example. How would this be? My next door neighbor calls me up and they say, hey Heather, my kid is selling cookie dough. That's a thing kids sell for their schools, right? My kid is selling cookie dough. Would you like to buy some? And I'm gonna, because if he earns the cookie dough, if I'm being real, I'm probably gonna say, man, I don't want you to go to Disneyland. I'm gonna buy my own damn cookie dough, right? And I might be a little stingy. But what changes it when your neighbor comes over and says, you know what, we just found out that my little boy has cancer and his journey's terminal. And the last thing that he wants to do in the last 6 months is he wants to go to Disneyland. How more apt am I going to buy that cookie dough? It's different, isn't it? And what I want to teach you really quick is a really simple principle. It's something that you all can practice, and it's something you can duplicate and teach your teams. And it's called finding your why.
Most people have heard of Simon Sinek, and he says, people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. And that really is applicable in our business. The tricky thing is almost every single one of you will guarantee you don't know why your why is. And I'll bet money on it. And we will say it's because of relationships, but I promise you, it's a level deeper than that. And I'm going to teach you something how to figure that out. So, it's called Finding Your Why Ladder. And it's super fun to do with your kids. Okay, so I'm going to see if I can do this with... I might be able to do. Okay, I think I'm good. Okay, so we're digging for gold. Our message today is about we're digging a little bit, right? So when you think of a ladder, think of all the different ladders like this, and we think of going up the ladder, right? That's your normal mentality, right? Going up the ladder. But when you want to understand your why, what we need to have happen is you need to understand the root. We need to understand what it is, what's the foundation of why we're doing the things. The hard thing is it's really difficult to come up with. So we start at the top. So we start here and we say, Megan, why are you doing Thrive? Throw me an answer.
Because I like the food.
Okay, I like the food. So your first rung is to, I like the food. Is that really why she's doing Thrive? Is it genuinely why? No, it's really not. Because guess what? Costco has food and she's not promoting Eggos from Costco, right? So we know that's not the real reason. It might be part of the reason. So, Megan, why do you like the food?
Well, if I'm being real, it's because I need some money. So I can buy Eggos from Costco.
Why do you want to eat Eggos from Costco? Or why do you want to buy Eggos from Costco?
Because I want to buy Eggos.
Or food. Why do you want to buy food? Why do you want to?
I need money, right?
Or maybe why do you need money?
Well, I'd say more why I need money is because my family has a lot going on. Like, we have a lot of activities that I want to do.
Okay, I'm going to go over here so I don't have to raise that. Okay. Why do you want your family to have activities?
Because it builds character.
Why do you want your family to build character?
Because help me out, guys. Why would you want
Why do you want your kids to build character? Is it a big deal?
I want them to see good people. Who they are.
We'll put development. Why do we care about development? Why do we want them to develop who they are? Say it again, Elizabeth?
Because we love them.
Oh, now we're getting somewhere. Why do we love them? It's going to keep going, and it's going to keep going. I promise when you do this exercise, it'll be at least 10 deep. We've gotten 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And when you start digging deep, and you start getting closer to this 10 mark, you start feeling emotion. And by 15 to 20, if you can get that far, as soon as you hit emotion, it comes up. That's when you know your why. And let me just tell you something really quick, you guys. Motivation doesn't happen from the gym. Motivation doesn't come from money. It really doesn't. Motivation doesn't even come from relationships. It does to a point. This is what creates motivation. And this is something that you should write down as an equation and put it in your book. Clarity gives motivation. When we understand who we are and what we're doing and why we're here, that will give you a foundation to keep going and to keep moving deeper than any paycheck, any event, any trip, any friend relationship. Because I promise you, your relationships, there's a reason why those relationships are valuable to you. There's a deeper reason why. Start understanding why you're here, and you will have no problem being motivated to run that business because it's about the bottom. So I encourage each of you guys to take a moment and do this. Megan's got a wrap-up challenge for you.
So something that has been actually talked about quite a bit today is that people don't buy buy what you sell, they're buying into you because they love you. So that's something that we've been trying to really focus in on as a team, and we want people to feel like we thrive, we have a thriving life because of more reasons than we eat thrive. Just like Thrive's mission statement on the wall right over here, that our mission statement should be to help others have a more thriving life. Is that your mission statement? So what we've been trying to do is to post things on social media of ways that we thrive, and not just by eating Thrive food. So we'd like to start to encourage you to use this same hashtag that we've been using, Thriving Life. Super easy one. We want people to live your life that very likely have nothing to do with Thrive, but use this hashtag, My Thriving Life. And I know that when we get into that more positive mindset and look for ways to thrive in all aspects of our life, that the business, thriving in your kitchen and thriving in your business, those things are going to come because people are going to buy into you and buy into your lifestyle and see all the awesome ways and beautiful ways that you are thriving. So those kind of things, what are some of those kind of things that you might post? Just throw a couple at me. Awesome. Your daughter's BMX races. Maybe you celebrated a birthday with one of your kids, or you celebrated your grandma's 90th birthday party today. Hashtag My Thriving Life. Road tripping with the girls. You watched a beautiful sunset. You just had the best dessert you've had all week or all month or ever in your life. It's graduation day. Hashtag My Thriving Life. Think of all the beautiful, wonderful things that are happening in your life that help you and help your family thrive. And let me leave with you guys today is sometime this week, find some way to hashtag My Thriving Life on social media. And if this is something that you want to keep doing, post every week. Post every once in a while, just find some way to let people know that you have a thriving life.
Thanks, Megan. So your challenge is twofold. What's your 2 assignments? You have 2 assignments. The one I gave you, which is find your why, get your clarity, and teach your team. Share it. It's one thing to find it, but it doesn't do any good if you don't share it. Make sure you share it. What's your second assignment? This is an awesome opportunity. I know it's been hard, especially for some of us that have been around a little longer, but I promise you, if you get clear, you'll get going.